Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, park guest. It is I, your host, Brooding Gamer. And just like early Zoom meetings of 2020, I'm not wearing pants under here. No, you didn't. Anyway, hi everybody. Today we're going to be talking about, tomorrow is Friday, which is June 6th, which is Games Fest, Summer Games Fest. And, possibly some pretty big news, which means I will be at work and I don't get to cover it the second it drops, which sucks. But we'll definitely cover it when I get home. We may be, I'd say we are 90% sure that we're going to be receiving news on Jurassic World Evolution 3. And I want to discuss with you guys the possibilities of what we could, what we're going to get with this announcement. As usual, I've got my big open space here so that we can talk about this, and you guys and I can speculate together what are the things we're hoping to see in this this trailer. It's we're expecting probably a big animated trailer like we have received for the past two games. Second one, of course, being voiced by the Jeff Goldblum, the lovely Bloom. That's what we're gonna go with, the Bloom, and it's very exciting to see what we're going to be getting. I'm very excited. I'm nervous at the same time because what if this whole time we've been talking about this and we're wrong? So it's hard to tell. Anyway, first off, my prediction is somebody in my comment section made a beautiful comment where it was a aerial view going over the park and showing, oh my God, there's like a mammoth that's just like walking there, or there's a giant sloth or Smilodon. I think, in my head, we could get a really cool trailer that, one, shows off, like, the dinosaurs in their enclosures, and then all of a sudden it's a T-Rex walking up to the edge of its enclosure, and then it just roaring, and then a saber-tooth jumping up on a rock on its enclosure, and then roaring at each other. Because you have, like, the king of the jungle in the, that time period, and the king of the jungle in that time period, all kind of like with the Jurassic World Dominion. Was it Dominion? No, it was Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, the end of that, where I hope Mufasa didn't die. That would have been really really sad, but that was really a cool ending. You had the king, both kings from different time periods, well, queen in one way, but T-Rex, the king of the dinosaurs. It would be really cool if that's what we would get. Like, that would be the end of that trailer. Like, the T-Rex is roaring and all of a sudden just boom, roar, saber-tooth, and you're like, oh my God, and then it just ends. And then winter, fall 2025. That would be a good way to end the trailer. But, of course, we all are really wanting to see if we're going to be getting, Cenozoic animals, so saber-tooth mammoths, terror birds, sloths, all that stuff. Best in Slot would be very happy with that. I for one would be extremely excited to have that. I've always wanted to be able to do themed sections of my parks, and having an area where it's like, all right, I want to do an aquatic section, carnivore, or not carnivore, but like large, like kind of theme it in some way, but in that way you could have like multiple themed areas. Now you could have your dinosaurs, your aquatic reptiles, and now your Cenozoic animals and your pterosaurs or whatever. Speaking of pterosaurs, I would really like the ability, it's not really an ability, but a quality of life kind of an update thing, where your pterosaurs can now walk on the ground. Instead of just fly, land on something, eat, drink, pee, poop, sleep, repeat. They have legs. They've got the ability to walk, and I think it was just Frontier kind of just like, look, we're take one thing a step at a time. I think that's something on their radar. It's something to us, it's probably massive. To them, it may be minor, or it may be flip-flopped. It may be kind of minor to us, but major to them. It's like having them walk is not just a simple update like that. That's going to take a lot of time, and it may. It may. I don't know coding. I don't know how all that works, so I'm sure it takes a lot of work to get all that done. So really, really good thing we could see there is seeing our, pterosaurs finally walking, which is a really big thing people have wanted. I would like the ability to do what I've been asking for, would be a terrain tool that allows you to use all terrain types in one thing. So if I want snow, I can use snow. And maybe if we're lucky with the mammoths and stuff, if we get those, we'll be able to do that, where we can use multiple terrain tools. Now, I'm saying it would be really beneficial if it's just a sandbox type of thing. That way I can do multiple different types of exhibits. So if I have the Utyrannus, I'd like some snow in there. Or the Pachyrhinosaurus. I wouldn't mind some snow on that, because typically Pachyrhinosaurus is always seen with like snow in the winter and everything. Especially when it had like its woolly fur from, I think it was Dead Sound. He did like his own take on the Pachyrhinosaurus, and they were like woolly mammoth Pachyrhinosaurus. It was cool. He does some really cool work, but that would be cool to just be able to have all terrain types. Maybe have different types of terrain. So instead of just like, lush green grass, now I want dead grass. So like, not dirt. It's like, that's the only thing they gave us was like grass, dirt. There you go. Having different types of grasses. So like, or a shader for your grass. So if you want something to look kind of like more tan or something like that, you can do like a savanna. So that way you can have like a savanna themed area or something like that, or lush green grass and stuff like that. I'm going all Zoo Tycoon here because I'd love to have my themed sections to my park. More scenery, of course, is going to be the one thing that we definitely are going to be needing in this game. We can't rely on mods alone. And, we're always going to be having issues in this game, or in these games and other games, where modders are the ones that save the day. You cannot make a 100% perfect game. There's always going to be something wrong with it. There's always going to be something that somebody is not happy with. While I do think that this could very well be the best game in the entire series, because they did give us a thing, the whole 2 horn or 3 horns are better than 2, which I'm sorry, that went right over my head. I know I'm only like 5'8", but that went right over my friggin' head. So thank you, Evolution Square, for calling or making that comment on. Or she put up a post, and I'm like, drool, like, oh yeah, didn't think anything of it. Anyway, I would like to see more scenery, more statues. I've always made the comment, let's get a skeleton per dinosaur, per animal. Every time you 100% a DNA, you get a skeleton to put out there. That's a lot of work. I could see that being pretty dang difficult. We have over almost 200 species at this point, to the point where that'd be 200 rendered statues. You could put one of those in front of each enclosure you find, and your game would probably be running like that horse in Neverending Story. Yeah, I went there. So maybe not a skeleton per dinosaur, but maybe just give us a lot, like a main dinosaur statue. So like, okay, here's a Parasaurolophus, like the main species. You got your T-Rex, your Brachy, your Para. I don't know, just more dinosaur statues. Get maybe a mammoth skeleton that we can put up. A mod recently dropped. If I have the pictures, I'll put them up here. But a mod recently dropped for, I think it was like Cenozoic scenery, and it is awesome. It has arches and everything, a mammoth skeleton, a saber-tooth skeleton. So I'm definitely going to be using that in my modded park build. And you guys may be asking where that's been. I did drop teasers for a while, and then I kind of fell off on that. I'm just waiting for all the DLC to become available on, or half price on Epic Store. I got Jurassic World Evolution 2 for free because it dropped for free. Now I'm just waiting for all the DLC to drop in price so that way I can afford to do that. As for, I'm pointing at my computer and then a comment goes over. As tomorrow is the day that we're going to be getting some news from Frontier, I'm kind of wondering if that's when everything's going to go on sale on the Epic Games Store. So that way it's like, oh, congrats on Jurassic World Evolution 3. Now all this DLC is now half price. So maybe we'll be able to, or everything's going to be half price online. So maybe we'll get lucky. That'll be the time to do this. Now, moving on from the scenery, of course, we want as much scenery as we can. So fountains, buildings, stuff like that. Always makes our parks look a little more alive next to the animals that are clearly alive. Going on from there, I'm going to go ahead and talk about Rebirth. Now, Rebirth content, like Dominion content, was supposed to be a part of the base game. So I'm guessing that Rebirth, when this game drops, Rebirth content will already be part of it, instead of us having to wait for a expansion or a DLC. which is awesome because in my eyes, that means saving room for a big expansion or more DLC. Because Dominion was split into two. I don't know if that was originally going to be all together or one big pack or one big thing or what. But I would hope that Rebirth is not split into two packs because there's so much. Like, I don't want to have to wait the game's entire lifespan for like one species, like, you know, the Mutodon, for example. I don't want to wait for the entire game's lifespan and at the very end they're like, here's our last DLC. By the way, there's your Mutodon that you've been asking for. Put everything in it as we go. But if it's going to be a part of the trailer, I think, because every bit shows off like the whimsy and the beautiful parts of the the park or the game and what you guys are going to be experiencing. And I think at the very end, I could see the doors opening to the enclosure or to the hatchery, and then just the big that booger, just that big foot coming out, like hitting the ground, and that's all we get. You know, that's a way to end it too. You know, there's just so many ways. It's going to be interesting having a park full of dinosaurs and animals, things that lived on this planet, and then you've got this giant xenomorph, beluga whale, dragon-esque creature. You know, I'm trying to remember the name, the Rancor from Star Wars. I want to say the Balrog from Lord of the Rings. Balrog wasn't a part of this. I don't see this thing coming out with a whip and just like whoosh, fighting no wizards. Mom, where's Grandpa? He's fighting the Stardust Rex again. I don't know why I made Mom sound like an old man. But yeah, Rebirth content is going to be something that we desperately are interested to see how that's going to go. I would have to say I'm not even really all that excited for the Distortus Rex to be in the game. I'm more excited for like the normal animals. Like there's a new Carnotaurus supposedly coming out and a Diabloceratops, because the Funkos, they wouldn't just make those if they're not in the film. So I'm really excited for the new Spino, which we've got hidden. Where you at? Right there. It's kind of weird controlling on how my little Spino there. The new Rex, I'm very excited to see how that looks in the game. I hope they actually are focusing, because I always swear they're like, oh, this version of the T-Rex has a different shaped head. To me, they always look the same. So I'm hoping that this Rex actually stands out as the Rex from Rebirth, because I may only be using that skin 100%. Same with the Spinosaurus. I may actually focus more on that skin, because I'm sorry, that one's growing on me. And the Titanosaurus is another thing I'm very excited about. Another animal that I'm really hoping to see is right there, the Inostrancevia. Very excited. Hopefully that makes an appearance in the game, because that's one of the Gorgonopsids are one of my favorite animals, just because of Primeval. Of course, I don't know if they were that big, but God, I love that series. Got so weird though. And we have our future Predator in a way. This is, you know, with the Distortus Rex being so weird. On top of that, so I would like to say that, Rebirth content, but what I want to end with is, because this video is already almost 15 minutes long, the content that I would like to end with is voiced characters. Returning big boy and girl characters. Someone said that we're not going to be getting Jeff Goldblum. They're probably going to focus more on the original or the new characters like Zora and the other guy. I hope not, because Jeff Goldblum, you know, Ian Malcolm, he brings. I know I've heard some people even say that they're just tired of him because, you know, he was then, we're done with him now. I'm like, you can never be done with Jeff Goldblum. You can never be done with Ian Malcolm. I don't see them bringing back like OG characters like, you know, Alan Grant, Elliot Sattler, or unfortunately, I feel like Dr. Wu, you cannot. That would be an interesting DLC with Dr. Wu, is him. Because, you know, he's made his own theme park monsters for sure. We know this with the Indominus. But what if you get in the game the creator of the Distortus Rex, and then you have now a section of this DLC, or even a story within the base game where Dr. Wu is like, okay, I've made some monsters in my time, but this one takes the cake, and we need to do something about it like now. So you and Dr. Wu, even though in this version of it, Dr. Wu still is kind of like, you know, his turtleneck, snubby little jerk, before he grows his hair out, wears a a cardigan and, you know, is reading books by the fire. A more wholesome, like, lo-fi Doctor Wu. I don't know, lo-fi. It just looks so comfy and cozy. I wonder if Doctor Wu will be making an appearance back in the game, because he's been in every one of them. Same with Jeff Goldblum. I really hope that we have some returning characters, because Doctor Wu, was always good to hear his voice. It's always good to know that's our boy Wu. At least we know an OG is here. Just having some sort of an OG character come back to do this is just like, it just makes it feel better. Now, if I lose my mind if they go on this trailer and it's like, you know, Sam Neill, Alan Grant talking, I'll be like, that's Grant, that's me. I don't know. I don't want any more off-brand John Hammonds. I don't want any more off-brand Chris Pratt, because that guy honestly just gets on my nerves. I don't know. I guess Chris Pratt's too good for voicing games. Instead, he'll just voice Lego movies. I feel like he's washed up. I'm not a fan of Chris Pratt anymore. I used to love Chris Pratt because of Parks and Recreation. And then you get... when they said he was going to be in Jurassic World, I'm like, oh, this is going to suck. Because he's just takes nothing seriously. And I was pleasantly surprised. He actually became one of my favorite characters. I was like, wow, he's actually really good in this. And then, I mean, I saw him as Star-Lord, and I'm like, I like him in that, but I'm not seeing how he can be in a Jurassic film. Yeah, he took it seriously. He did really good. But I do get the feeling that he's just not as... I feel like your more funny actors are the ones that are not as funny in real life. They're just mean. And I, for some reason, get this vibe that Chris Pratt is just like a... why are you approaching me? I know, congratulations, you liked my movies, but get away from me kind of a guy, which I'm sure a lot of celebrities are for good reason, but we're going off on a tangent. Video is now already 20 minutes long. Anyway, I want to see some original characters come back and reprise their roles. Will that happen? Probably not. If it does, awesome. So Cenozoic creatures is what I'm expecting to see in the trailer. At least one or two. That way they, you know, hint at it. New aquatic reptiles. There's loads out there. So some more would be great. Trying to think what else. Better scenery. More scenery items. Of course, bring the scenery from the OG or the other game back over. I would typically just where I drop, like, give us a Megalodon, but I don't have to do that anymore. Terrain tool, Rebirth content. I think we're pretty much there. Of course, let me know below what you guys think. We are, tomorrow's the day that we finally find all this out. So, I'd love to be live streaming it, but I can't. So that sucks. But, you guys, of course, will probably find Evolution Square or Best in Slot, maybe even Gaming Beaver doing it. He doesn't do a lot of Evolution content, which is a little odd. I guess he just doesn't. It may not do anything for his channel. I don't know. But yeah, go ahead and keep an eye on the channel and keep an eye on their channels. That way, you guys can stay up to date on everything going on. And then by tomorrow, we'll be able to talk about what did I get right, what did I get wrong, and just talk about what we have in front of us at that point. All right, thank you guys for watching. I love every single one of you. If you guys enjoyed this video, my odd ramblings, let me know down below how you felt. And, of course, subscribe and like the video so that we can help get it into the YouTube algorithm of, you know, being viewed. Because YouTube's algorithm sucks. So, yeah, go ahead and do that if you can. It would be greatly appreciated. And there is one thing I would like to talk about before we do end this video. And that is the fact of what all is going on in my personal life. As you guys know from the post that I put up yesterday or last night, my father's cancer has been a lot. It's not that it's gotten worse. It's just we weren't aware of how bad it was. And I apologize if my voice cracks on this. So what I'm gonna ask of you guys is so you guys know that I make money off these videos, but I don't make a lot. I'm not making much. Like my next one coming up here, my pay is going to be $123. And that is after months of videos building up to make it up to $123, which is not a lot, unfortunately. Now, why am I bringing this up? I am, and what my family doesn't know is whatever I make off these videos is going to go towards my mother. Now, my dad, all of this is covered. He is with the VA, so he is not going to have to pay for a dime of any of this care. However, he will not be working, so he will not have an income. My mother is going to be the only income, and I feel that my mom needs, and this is going to sound kind of weird, because, my dad's the one fighting the cancer, but my mom, I feel, in some ways is going to need the most help, because what my mom does as a job is work with cancer patients. She helps patients with their meds. She works in a cancer facility. So my mom has to see all the sadness and the sick people, and sometimes good people, the happy people. Some of them fight cancer with a smile, and what else are you gonna do? And some are, they take it hard, and she gets bullied and she gets treated like crap by a lot too. And now she has to deal with it at work and come home and deal with it. So she doesn't get to escape. And what I'm going to be doing with the money I make on YouTube is I'm going to be giving that to her to help her, because she's going to be the only income. And even though she works in a cancer facility, she makes okay money. She can't support everything on her own. She can't support all the house. She can't support the pets. She can't support him. She can't do everything on her own. So I'm going to use my YouTube funds to help her. So why am I... This isn't me asking for money. This isn't me asking you to donate. Strictly what this is the only thing I need your help to do is just watch the videos. Like the videos and subscribe. Because the more attention these videos get, the more views they get, the more ads are used, the more income is made. When the Dominion video dropped 3 years ago, that video got over 100,000 views. 120 some thousand views, something like that. I made a $500 paycheck off that one video alone. I'm sure some other videos helped boost that, but $500 was that. I mean, we went out and I think we got dinner and I bought more Jurassic stuff. But because of that, I made almost $1,000, and if I can do that again, then that's almost $1,000 that I can give my mom so that she can buy groceries, help support herself, help pay the bills over there, because my father won't be able to work. So I want to help her, because if it weren't for her, I wouldn't have any of this, and I wouldn't be here, and I would not have fallen in love with Jurassic Park nearly as much, because it's her fault that this happened. She's the one that sat my little butt down in my diaper on the living room floor in our house all those years ago and had me watch Jurassic Park. And instead of running away screaming like a kid because of scary dinosaurs, I was hooked. And here I am, 30 years old, and still hooked, obviously. So I want to help her. So anything that I make from these videos is going to go to her to help her. So anything you guys can do to help is share the videos. Go to your friends who watch or like stuff. Share them on your social media. Help me get the views and the likes. If 100 people watch this video, that's 100 likes. If you take just a second to go down, hit that like button, because the more people who like it and comment, the more people will that video. Then I don't know how the YouTube algorithm works, and it's stupid, but for smaller content creators such as myself, it will pull that video and go, well, a lot of people are liking this. We may want to start sharing it more. And so when someone's watching Evolution Square, my video could pop up in their bottom feed saying, hey, you may like this video too. And maybe they do now. I don't know. But that's all I'm asking for you guys. I don't do super chats. I'm not asking for you guys to donate money to the cause. I'm asking that you guys just do what you're already doing. Watch the videos. But like I said, if you are watching the video and you've made it this far into the video, by all means, thank you. If you've made it this far into the video, just say Karen the Therizinosaurus in the comments, because that's Haley's favorite thing. Karen the Therizinosaurus. Say that 5 times fast. If everybody who is watching this takes just a second to like the video, that helps. It shows YouTube that you guys are liking this, and this video will get bigger. All that. So, that's all you guys gotta do. Simple as that. Thank you guys for watching. I'm finally gonna end this video off here. I'm sorry to end it in such a depressing way, but I needed to get this out there. I love every single one of you. You guys are the reasons that I've even gotten this far. You're the reason why I continue to do what I do. You guys are always there for me, and I always want to be there for you. So I will see you guys in the next video. This is Brooding Gamer, signing out.